Imagine standing in the Roman Senate, marble columns tower above you. The most powerful men in the world debate the fate of an empire. And then, hooves echo through the chamber, a horse draped in purple, wearing jewels fit for royalty. And the Emperor of Rome wants this animal to vote on laws. This is not a myth, this is history. This is Clusterstory, where we take a deep dive into history to get a great understanding of how we got here. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell, like and share this video. The rise of a monster. To understand how Rome nearly had a horse in its highest political office, we must first understand the man behind the madness. His name was Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, but history remembers him by a childhood nickname, Caligula. It means little boots. Roman soldiers gave him this name when he was just a toddler, running around military camps in tiny soldier sandals. It sounds almost adorable, almost innocent, but there was nothing innocent about what Caligula would become. Born in the year 12 AD, Caligula was the great-grandson of the legendary Augustus Caesar himself. Royal blood flowed through his veins. Destiny seemed to smile upon him from birth. But destiny, as we shall see, had far darker plans. His father, Germanicus, was Rome's golden child, a brilliant military commander beloved by soldiers and citizens alike. Many believed he would become the greatest emperor Rome had ever seen, but Germanicus never got that chance. He died under mysterious circumstances when Caligula was just 7 years old. Whispers of poison spread through Rome like wildfire. This was only the beginning of young Caligula's trauma, a childhood forged in fire. What followed? Germanicus's death would break most children entirely. Caligula's mother, Agrippina the Elder, publicly accused the Emperor Tiberius of murdering her husband. This was not a wise accusation to make against the most powerful man in the world. Tiberius responded with cold, calculated vengeance. One by one, Caligula watched his family disappear. His mother was exiled to a remote island. There, she was beaten so severely that she lost an eye. Eventually, she starved herself to death rather than continue suffering. His eldest brother was accused of treason and executed. His second brother died in prison, possibly driven to suicide, possibly murdered. And through all of this, young Caligula survived. He learned to survive by hiding his emotions. By smiling at the man he believed had destroyed everything he loved, by playing the perfect, obedient boy. For 6 years, Caligula lived in the palace of Emperor Tiberius on the island of Capri. Historians describe this place as a den of depravity. What Caligula witnessed there, what he was forced to participate in, remains the subject of horrified speculation to this day. But he survived. He always survived, and he learned that in Rome, power was the only thing that mattered. The emperor awakens in the year 37 AD. Tiberius died. Some say Caligula himself smothered the old emperor with a pillow. Others say it was natural causes. The truth remains buried in the shadows of history. What we know for certain is this: Caligula became emperor at the age of 24, and Rome erupted in celebration. The people remembered his beloved father, Germanicus. They saw in Caligula a chance for redemption, a new golden age. For the first 6 months of his reign, Caligula seemed to fulfill every hope. He freed political prisoners. He reduced taxes. He hosted spectacular games and entertainments. Rome had never been happier, and then everything changed. 7 months into his reign, Caligula fell gravely ill. Some historians believe it was a fever. Others suggest poisoning. A few modern scholars theorize encephalitis, an inflammation of the brain that can cause dramatic personality changes. Whatever the cause, the Caligula who recovered from that illness was not the same man who had fallen sick. The monster had awakened. Descent into madness. What followed were 3 years of terror that Rome would never forget. Caligula declared himself a living god. He appeared in public dressed as Jupiter, Apollo, Mercury, and Venus. He demanded that citizens worship him. He ordered the heads removed from statues of the gods and replaced with sculptures of his own face. He executed senators on whims. He bankrupted noble families for his amusement. He is said to have opened a brothel in the palace itself, staffing it with the wives and daughters of Rome's elite. At gladiatorial games, when criminals ran short, Caligula reportedly ordered spectators thrown into the arena to be devoured by beasts instead. During one show, he supposedly had the tongues of critics cut out before they were killed, so the crowd would not have to hear their complaints. But of all the madness, nothing captured the imagination of history quite like his relationship with a horse, Incitatus. The horse who would be senator, his name was Incitatus. It means swift, or full speed in Latin. And from the moment Caligula laid eyes on this magnificent creature, an obsession was born. Incitatus was no ordinary horse. He was a champion chariot racer, sleek, powerful, and faster than any horse in the empire. Caligula loved the chariot races with an almost religious fervor, and Incitatus was his favorite. But Caligula's affection went far beyond normal admiration. He built Incitatus a stable made of marble. The feeding trough was carved from ivory. The blankets were dyed in Tyrian purple, the color reserved exclusively for royalty. Incitatus wore collars studded with precious gems. He drank wine from golden goblets, but Caligula was only getting started. He assigned Incitatus a staff of 18 servants, personal attendants whose sole purpose was to cater to a horse's every need. He gave Incitatus a house, a villa complete with furniture, slaves, and gardens. And then came the most shocking act of all. Caligula announced his intention to make Incitatus a consul of Rome, a consul, one of the two highest elected positions in the entire Roman government. A position once held by Cicero, by Pompey, by Julius Caesar himself, a horse in the Senate of Rome, madness or method. For centuries, historians have debated what this actually meant. Was Caligula truly insane? Had the fever or the trauma or the absolute power finally shattered his mind completely? Did he genuinely believe his horse was worthy of political office? Or was something far more calculated happening? Consider this. The Roman Senate had once been the most powerful governing body in the known world. These were the men who had shaped an empire. But by Caligula's time, the Senate had become largely ceremonial. Emperors held the real power. Senators merely rubber-stamped imperial decisions while pretending to matter. What greater insult could Caligula deliver than this? What more devastating message could he send? He was telling Rome's elite that their precious offices were worthless, that they were interchangeable with livestock, that a horse could do their jobs just as effectively as they could. If this interpretation is correct, Caligula was not mad at all. He was making a point. A cruel, deliberate, devastating political statement wrapped in the costume of insanity. Perhaps the true madness was that the Senate, these powerful men of Rome, could do nothing but watch. The conspiracy by the year 41 AD, Rome had endured enough. Caligula's cruelty had alienated nearly everyone. The Senate despised him. The Praetorian Guard, the elite soldiers sworn to protect him, whispered of assassination. Even members of his own family plotted in the shadows. On January 24th, 41 AD, the conspirators struck. Caligula was attending theatrical performances. As he walked through a private passage, members of the Praetorian Guard attacked. They stabbed him over 30 times. They murdered his wife. They killed his infant daughter by smashing her head against a wall. The emperor, who had declared himself a god, died like any other man, bleeding, terrified, alone. He was only 28 years old. The fate of Incitatus, and what of the horse? History falls silent on the ultimate fate of Incitatus. The marble stable, the ivory trough, the jeweled collars, all of it presumably disappeared in the chaos that followed Caligula's assassination. Some scholars believe Incitatus was simply retired to a pasture somewhere, allowed to live out his days in peace. Others suggest the new Emperor Claudius, Caligula's uncle, may have kept the horse as a curiosity. We will never know for certain. But Incitatus achieved something no other horse in history ever has. He became a symbol, a legend. For 2,000 years, his story has been told and retold. The horse who nearly became a Roman senator. The lesson of Caligula. What does this bizarre tale teach us about power, about madness, about human nature itself? Perhaps it shows us what happens when absolute power meets absolute trauma. Caligula was forged in suffering. He learned from childhood that the world was cruel, that power was everything, that no one could truly be trusted. When that wounded child gained control of an empire, the results were catastrophic. Perhaps it reveals the fragility of institutions. The mighty Roman Senate, which had governed for centuries, could be humiliated by a single man with enough power. Their traditions, their dignity, their authority meant nothing against imperial will. Or perhaps the story simply reminds us that history is stranger than any fiction we could invent. A little boy in tiny soldier boots, an emperor who thought he was a god, a horse in purple robes. This was Rome, this was Caligula, and this was the bizarre true story of Incitatus, the horse who almost became a senator. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If this story fascinated you, subscribe to Clusterstory and turn on notifications. We uncover the strangest, most incredible moments from our past, because understanding where we came from helps us understand where we are going. Like this video, share it with someone who loves history, and we will see you in the next deep dive. This has been Cluster Story.